This should worry you if you are creating AI agents, because Google and MIT just discovered that creating a multi-agent system can be an absolutely catastrophic choice and drop your AI performance up to 70%. But same model, same task can boost your performance up to 80%. Then what's the secret? In this video, I'm going to share with you the finding of extensive study that Google research did to figure out what specific architecture for multi-agent system works for a given task. And by the end of the video, I'm going to give you a checklist so you know which multi-agent architecture is the best choice for your use case before you start developing and coding. Then let's check it out. If you also believe that having more AI agents is always better, you're going to have better performance, you are wrong, because Google and MIT researchers just figured out this term is just a fallacy. What they did, they started to have a study on different configurations of agentic use cases up to around 180 to tell you the truth that depending on your use case and task, your multi-agent system architecture should be different, as you're going to have a significant different performance. So more AI agents is not always the fact, and it's not always true. So to figure out what should be the choice of the best architecture for a given task, they started to have 5 different architecture of agentic use cases: single agent, independent, centralized. I'm gonna actually share with you all of that shortly. So what they are, what's the architecture, and they started to have creating multi-agent system based on this architecture for these given tasks in finance, in web browsing, in planning, like game planning, Minecraft, and Workbench, which is like a workflow of calling softwares and tools. And they didn't just specifically use Gemini or Google models. They started to benchmark using OpenAI, Google, and Anthropic models to give you these very interesting and different of expectation results. So what are those different architectures? I'm pretty sure that your use case is one of these 5s that I'm sharing the screen. You might have right now just a single agent that just run the task, call the tools. Even you have completely different tools connected to this just one single agent that does the work for you. That's one architecture for itself, which has no overhead because there's no multi-agent system. So they consider this as one architecture. Second, you have independent agents that they run some task in parallel, and then at the end they will aggregate the results or do some voting, for example. But the middle one, which is centralized, and I think this is the most popular architecture, that you have a main master, the main head, that delegate tasks to other sub-agents through different protocols like A2A, or some people connect to other agents through MCP. So you have these sub-agents work together and send the results all the way back to this master guy. Then you have decentralized way. That means each agent just do its own work, but they also talk to each other, and then potentially there might be some voting at the end. And last, which is hybrid, that has both centralized and decentralized. So that means you have an orchestrator that delegate the task to these sub-agents, but also these sub-agents talk to each other as well. That give you more flexibility. So among all these, which one you need to choose for a given task? This is the important and also very pricey question, which we're going to answer based on this Google study. Well, if I ask you this question, that which model or which architecture going to work the best, you might say that, well, potentially I'm going to use some more sub-agents that I can delegate the tasks separately so they won't get confused, and I'm going to always go for the most performant model from the provider. Well, that's not true. Check this out. In this picture, you will see that from left to right, if you follow my pointer as we go to the right, the models get better from the performance perspective and intelligence index. So in OpenAI models, we have GPT-5 Nano, then Mini, then we have 5, right? So we are expecting that the performance of our multi-agent system should also go linearly higher from left to right as you're choosing these more powerful models. In some cases, you're right. For example, if you follow this pink circle, pink is SAS, which is single agent system. When you don't have multi-agent system, you're right. It almost goes like this. So when I go from Nano to all the way GPT-5, I have better performance. But for some other scenarios, like this star one, which is a multi-agent system hybrid architecture that I just talked about, that's not true. Mini, which is more intelligent, works worse compared to Nano, which is less intelligent. So it's totally opposite. Same thing for Google Gemini, same thing for Anthropic Claude. So it's not true that always choosing the better model will give you the most performant outcome. It highly depends on what's the architecture and what's the use case that you're developing. So that triggered this question and the study to figure out what is going on. All right, so first they decided that, okay, maybe it's because of the architecture. So I can truly see from the previous charts that I showed you, based on what going to be the architecture you choose, you can have the performance getting changed. So let's do this for different use cases. Again, they did it for browsing, computer, finance agent, game planning, and workbench. So you can see that if you follow this box plot for gray color is when you have just one single agent. The accuracy goes, for example, for this specific task from less than 20% to all the way to, let's say, 40% here. You have this distribution of accuracy. But when you just flip your architecture from a single agent all the way to this color, and this color is a multi-agent system which are independent sub-agents, check this out. The performance got dropped minus 35%. Same architecture dropped the performance for this use case, which is game planning, 70%. And same thing for workbench, it dropped the performance for 11%. You might say that, wow, this is a terrible architecture. I'm not going to use this independent multi-agent system or mass architecture at all. But check this out. The finance agent, same architecture, increase the performance up to around 60%. That's a significant gain. Check the third one. Third one is decentralized multi-agent system. This one also increased the performance 75% compared to just single agent. But same architecture, which is killing this use case, dropped the performance of this plan crap use case 41%. Actually, just having a single agent is much better than having multi-agent system for this use case. Then we just discovered that, wait a second, how come same architecture, same model, but totally different responses from different use cases? So that's a clue that use case is also important, not just the architecture or beside the architecture. So they started to dig in further to realize that what's really happening. Can we come up with a rule of thumb to know and figure out what is always the best for what a specific scenario? So let's create some formula as a rule of thumb or best practice. So the very first principle they're noting here that is the cost of complexity. So they're saying that when you increase the number of tools available for your given agent, you are definitely increasing also potentially the token efficiency or decreasing that, because when you have multiple tools, the system should coordinate between these agents. You have each agent or needs its own reasoning over that tool. So obviously you are you're consuming more tokens. So you have to be cautious about the efficiency that you gain really worth the price of that token efficiency that you're losing or not. So keep that principle in mind. The very second principle rule of thumb they figured out, which is very interesting, and I think this is gold you have to keep in mind and maybe write it somewhere because you're going to use this a lot in your agentic design, is that when you have an AI agent with just one agent, you're doing the task and you're thinking about maybe extend it to multi-agent. Before you're doing that, ask yourself this: is your single agent have already 45% accuracy or not? If it's over 45% accuracy, then potentially extending it to multi-agent system gonna have coordination yield diminishing returns. So that means it's gonna be even worth. So they realized that in their study, the threshold of 45% accuracy for a single agent is a good rule of thumb to figure out, do I need to really go to multi-agent or not? So do not consider having multi-agent system if your single agent is already having a threshold of 45% accuracy or more. That's the second principle. The third one, which is also again very important, write it down somewhere, the scaling principle 3. When you have this independent agent, that there is no master orchestrator agent, all these sub-agents work by themselves, well, you always have more error amplification. 70 times more they got more errors when they were using this independent agent. Why? Because there is no head, there is no master orchestrator. If one agent has an error, the second agent has an error, the third agent has an error. So these errors get amplified without getting fixed or verified. But on the other side, which is on the right, when you have that centralized coordination, when there's a master orchestrator agent, that if there's an error or bug or an issue with one of the agent, that orchestrator can act as a validator to fix. So make sure it acts like a valve of not letting this error getting amplified. So sometimes the error amplification on this specific architecture can be less compared to when you have this totally independent agents. This is why in the finance use case that I showed you, that same architecture increased the performance up to 70-80%, but caused 70% failure in other use case. Because for the financial use case, you can parallelize and decompose the task to different agents. So one agent can think about revenue, one agent can talk about cost and market, and then we can have them all aggregated or send it to an orchestrator agent. But if you have a sequential use case, like for example, that gaming use case, which is Minecraft, node A should do something, or agent A should do something, and based on that, agent B and then agent C. So if you have that sequential sort of nature in your use case, that those tasks are not decomposable, do not think about having that architecture that we use for finance use case, which was delegating a task from an orchestrator agent to the sub agent. So again, having decomposable tasks versus sequential would be a very good consideration to make sure what's going to be the best architecture for the given use case. And by the way, be very careful if you go with multi-agent system. For example, here for hybrid architecture that I just talked about, it requires 6.2 times more reasoning turns, which is clear because of that coordinations. But token efficiency drops from 67 from a single agent to 13 for a hybrid architecture. So does it really worth to pay for this cost? Well, it depends on what you're gaining out of that use case. So consider that the hidden economy of this coordination when you go with hybrid or multi-agent systems. Here are some rule of thumbs based on the nature of the models they figure out from these different vendors. So for example, for Anthropic models, they are more conservative and stable. So they realize that mostly in the centralized architecture, they were performing better and they had lowest variance in their performance. And here are the charts that shows you how they work with different architectures of multi-agent systems compared to just a single agent. Now for Google Gemini, they realize that it has a robust efficiency, so it has a strong alignment with hierarchical messaging exchange. So very good for coordination and that overheading issue that we just discussed. And check this out, for financial centralized multi-agent system, they got 164% increase. This is a significant gain. And for OpenAI, they figured out it's good for synergistic. So the benefits from hybrid on a structured task, high cost versus high communication synergy. Again, these are just, rule of thumbs. They found out based on that 180 configurations of agentic use cases that they did in the paper. Right, and here's a checklist that I promised you to share with you. But based on all these findings, and we are so thankful of MIT and Google researchers for sharing this out, what is our take on using that for our use case to decide for the architecture? Let's start with this. Again, this is maybe not 100% applicable all the time, and I really try to come up with a summary that works with the majority of the content shared with the paper and the best practices. So take it as a rule of thumb, not necessarily a hard stone blueprint. So if you want to start designing an architecture for your use case, first ask this question: is the task parallelizable or not? Is it sequential or parallelizable? If it's not parallelizable, it's sequential. Think about maybe start considering single agent, because if you don't do that, you have a sequential nature. You're going to have that overhead of communications and waiting for agents finishing the task, and then that error amplification I talked about. So you might get worse results compared to just a single agent. So consider this. If no, it's actually a parallelizable task, then good. Maybe we can consider a multi-agent system. But first ask yourself, if single agent is more than 45% accurate, if yes, consider the same single agent, because it doesn't worth to go with the token efficiency that you will lose with multi-agent system. If no, okay, then we can think about multi-agent system. But wait a second, is safety critical for you? Yes, go with centralized. Why? Remember that error amplification that is less in centralized compared to decentralized. If not, then ask this: is it a tool heavy or not? If yes, go with decentralized. If not, go with centralized. Hope that helps. But again, based on your specific use case, that might be different, but this should work with majority of the use cases. But if you want to summarize all that checklist and come up with the most summarized outcome out of this, they share with us that comprehensive metrics across architectures reveal that centralized systems, which is here, achieve the best balance between success rate and error containment, while independent multi-agent systems amplify errors up to 17.2 times. So this is, again, an understanding based on all that 180 agentic configurations that they did, and they summarized that for us. And lastly, this was about the rules of agent scaling based on Google's study. And to summarize, first, stop blindly adding agents. I talked to you about maybe that's a worse decision. I showed you some examples. 70% accuracy was lost because of just flipping from one agent to multi-agent. Be very cautious about it. Second, assess the composability. This will let you know if you can parallelize your task or not, and then consider if you want to go with that multi-agent system like finance that we just discussed was a good example. Third, mind the 45% rule. If your single agent is already 45% accurate or more, maybe ignore multi-agent system. Fourth, centralize for safety. Use orchestrator to catch the contained errors. Again, I told you when there's an orchestrator or master agent that can act as a validator to do not let errors get amplified when each sub agent has its own errors. And last but not least, calculate the task or hidden economics of multi-agent system. Ensure that the performance gate justifies the token cost that you're paying because of extending your AI agents. Alright, that was all about this research. I found personally it is extremely helpful and thankful to the authors listed here, but I hope you also enjoyed this video. If yes, please consider like and comments and subscribe so you won't miss the next video. Thank you so much.